Alright, looks like we got Warlock versus Warlock.
After many technical difficulties, we are finally now streaming to Twitch. And
Yeah, open up Hearthstone, that's like way too small.
oh, we're just gonna.
Well,
Oh, because it's also Bowser who's okay.
and we don't want to interrupt the game to fix this
Yeah.
spectating. We got. Alright, so once again we've got Thrawn on what looks like a Zoolock and Bowser playing a Handlock, so very different play styles coming out here. Right now Thrawn has quite a bit of pressure on the board.
Bowser doing pretty strong. He's got a taunt wall up, but I don't know how long that's gonna last against the Doom Guard.
What he really needs is a heal bot right now. To get that ready to play once his health gets pretty low, which it looks like won't be too much trouble to get it under 10.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, Emperor Thaurissan in a very aggro type deck. It's not what he needs at all. That Bowser draws an implosion and
No, because
doesn't have a very good way to relieve this pressure.
he can handle the Thorazane, but beyond that, not much else to do.
I would probably consider the tap right now because really this hand isn't doing much.
I don't know if I would tap though. 12 health.
He's thinking about the Molten Giant and then Defender of Argus, but I don't know if that will relieve enough pressure in time.
Yeah. I would implosion Thorazane, and then would have cleared the board as much as possible.
But he wouldn't have really been able to clear that much with two 5/5s on the board. So he goes for the Bowser goes for the safer play and taunts up his Molten Giants, hoping that buys him enough time to draw into a heal bot. Or maybe another Molten Giants. Harrison is pretty much a dead card in his hand, along with Sylvanas is kind of dead too. At this point. Thrawn opts to clear.
Dr. Boom's a good draw.
Yeah. Thrawn just traded down for that and then emoted an oops, so I think he decided that was a bad idea after his trades. So unless he has the 9 burst damage, Bowser may have been able to stabilize this game. He's got the Myaxna threatening Bowser's Dr. Boom. No easy way to deal with that 8 health. Would you not run the Boombot in Myaxna first? Just to see how much damage you get off?
I would run the Boombots first, definitely. Because the boom bots
Oh. I
would
guess
have.
at this point it's moot anyway, but
Yeah.
worked out in the end. But I really feel like that could have ended up very poorly.
I would have done the boom bots first, because then he would have been able to make use of his Bane of Doom if it would have been low enough instead of an implosion. Because then that would bring out something that could have possibly been better than piloted Shredder.
I feel like I'm a little mistaken about Thrawn's deck being Zulok because there's a lot of sort of control elements in there. That Siphon Soul.
Yeah.
Looks like, yeah, giving Bowser the time to stabilize might have foiled Thrawn right there. That's a very weak play with a 2-5 taunt right now.
Yeah. Will easily be cleared. Now, sadly, we don't have Thrawn's hand. Didn't get an invite to spectate his.
He's got 5 cards in hand. There's got to be plenty of cheap things to play. Faceless and interesting. Yeah. This definitely might not be a Zulok with
Yeah.
this kind of.
I don't know why he chose to faceless his own when he could have done the Sludge Belcher as a further wall.
I think Thrawn's getting a little panicked right now after he gave up so much control of the board.
Yeah. This is going to be an easy clear for Bowser.
Even if Thrawn did have the burst without having to deal with the taunts at this point, with that 8 heal from the heal bot, I don't think Zulok can dump that much out anymore. And Bowser's formerly dead cards are actually pretty useful now.
Traxxas
Very
will
nice
buy some
Traxxas.
time.
Yep.
No,
I don't know what else you can do unless he carries some defenders.
He's
to
still
pawn up
dead.
his-
The opponent has lethal.
Right. Bane of Doom can be used on. Well, can be used on your own minions as well, but yeah.
First game goes to Bowser.
Is this the actual first game? We're a little.
Let us.
Wait, Bowser was spectating us? I'm very confused.
He's watching us watch him. Only in Hearthstone can you do
Spectator
that.
mode. How does it work? Alright. Well, Thrawn pulls back from what looked like a desperate situation for a short while. And we'll wait for the next game to start.
I believe that was the last game of the 3.
Alright. So it looks like Thrawn won that match handily then.
Yeah. Oh, wrong button.
By keeping a cool head.
Yeah, I'll get right on it.
To my side. I wonder.
Alright, looks like this game is trying to end pretty quickly. Ares has what looks like a very aggro lock. Okay. We're on match point right now between Ares and Alias, with Ares in the lead. No, he didn't.
Alright, and we are back. This is match point between Ares and Alias. I believe the
Favoring
match,
Ares.
yeah, favoring Ares. Seems to be a basic demon lock against mid-range hunter.
Looks more like potentially an aggro hunter, but we haven't been able to catch
Most of the, yeah.
beforehand. This direction is a very interesting choice in the hunter deck.
He has to make use of the kill command. And then I'd probably put down the misdirect as well.
He's got 6 mana to work with, though. I don't think owling anything will do too
Owling,
much
yeah.
personally. He needs to go for some sort of miracle kill. Also, I think he should be running his mad scientist into the imp first to see what kind of secret he gets, if that'll even help first.
But if he has freezing trap in his deck, then putting down the misdirect and the explosive right away could bring out that last one, but we don't have the deck list straight in front of us.
Looks like his scientist gave him another explosive trap. Ares does potentially have lethal.
The dream would be if that misdirect hits the Nerubian.
Or even his own face.
Yeah.
Forgot about that explosive trap, though. He no longer has that lethal damage. But Alias does definitely have lethal next turn, though, if Ares can't pull something out with his 7 mana.
Yeah. He has to use Shadow Flame or something to clear the board.
And he's got to do it quick. We've only got a few seconds left on that
Few
road.
seconds. Clear the board or you're dead.
Doesn't look like he believes in the skill command. Alias takes this game handily after a little bit of BM playing all his cards.
Sorry about that. So at this particular tournament, we're still in our first round of our 16. People getting eliminated left and right. Now, we do hope to get a new match going soon. So we will be right back.
Is the audio on?
My shield for Argus! I wonder.
I'll get right on.
Alright. A little bit of a mix-up. Who won, who didn't. So we still have the same two people.
Still match point, and what looks like a little bit of a mix between a tempo mage and a freeze mage with that flame waker in there. Looks like he values having some board control as well.
Yeah. Now in Ares' hand, we have a Knife Juggler, Shadow Flame, Power Overwhelming, Defender of Argus, Owl, and an Implosion. We don't have it on the stream right now, again due to a mix-up, but we'll be fine. Now, if you were Ares, what would you do first?
I would have waited to play that Knife Juggler so you could have gotten some value out of that Implosion. Not sure why he's so scared at 18 health that he needs to silence the Flame Waker when there's potentially bigger threats that that Owl might be more useful in. Very interestingly, Alias is actually using Flame Leviathan. It's almost like he just decided to throw every mage and decent legendary he could find in this deck.
Yeah.
Or, no, actually I think that Flame Leviathan came from Portal. Yes, it did. So that's why that's actually there.
Oh. That's convenient for him then.
Oh.
Now Ares just drew.
There's a
into-
very good chance of getting some value out of these implosions.
He has 2 in his hand.
Now if Juggler still lives, but looks like he values just not taking the 7 damage at this point, instead of trying to swarm the board.
Yeah.
Most mages don't really run Flame Strike anymore, though, so it's usually a good idea to flood the board early on before he gets to those late turns where he can Blizzard, which would be the only real other AoE that mages carry these days, really.
Yeah. I feel like Alias is trying a little too hard to get used to that Flame Waker instead of establishing good board control.
I really want him to use one of those implosions. They're just sitting there staring at him. And his knife jugglers live several turns.
There's no reason not to. There's literally no reason not to
You
use
could
an
potentially
implosion.
get 8 damage for 4 mana. It might not go on all the targets you want, but it's still a lot better than what he's been playing. Uses it on the, yeah.
Why not the Flame Leviathan?
Or the Flame Waker. I would probably have played that on the Flame Waker, and then cleared the easier to kill Fairy.
Yeah.
Because he still has 1 taunt up, which, I mean, I guess Mage could ping it, and then run through, but
That also forced him to get rid of the Juggler.
yeah.
A little too slow, didn't
He
get
mi-
that last attack in.
Ares might have been scared that that was a ice block, but really he could have just been flooding the board and just going for his face for the past several turns. Especially with those 2 implosions, they would have done significant amounts of work.
Yeah, would have saved a lot of time and effort. But
Ares draws the Doom Guard, but it doesn't really work with the rest of his hand. The Void Terror is pretty much a dead card.
yeah. So for those watching the stream, that's a Doom Guard, along with a Void Terror, Implosion, and a Shadow Flame.
Meanwhile, all Alias has to do right now is keep that taunt up, clear the board, play that Rag next turn, maybe. There is definitely the potential of Ares being able to burst Alias now. As soon as he stops being so scared to do it.
Yeah. And if he puts down a Void Terror now with that little bit of mana, that'll give him the last push he needs for the Doom Guard.
Alias looks like it's... I feel like this is more tempo-oriented with the double mirror entities.
Yeah.
He's got 18 cards that we haven't seen, so there may be some of the more useful secrets like Ice Block. Looks like Alias has lost a lot of steam. Pretty much trying to focus on keeping that board cleared so that Rag can go for the face instantly.
But it's over now.
A little bit of BF from Ares, but he takes this game and the series, moves on to the next round.
we will be right back once we know our next match.
Garrosh versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Victory or death! Greetings.
Hello.
All right, and we are back. Now this is a match between Bowser and Nosferatu. I think that's how you'd say it. Not 100% sure. So this is the next part of the match, second round. Bowser won from the first that we watched earlier. Now, so far it looks like Bowser's either running control or what's that new
patron?
What's that? Yeah, there we go. Grim Patron. I was like,
Very
it's
heavily used
something Grim Patron. There we go.
Grim Patron Warrior has been very strong lately.
Favored by many.
It's very hard to play around, even if you leave the board empty. There are very many ways to just produce a plethora of those Grim Patrons.
Seem to have a bit of a delay on the stream. on Bowser's part.
Nosferatu considering whether to maybe coin out the Lothab or just play the Kazan Mystic.
What now?
Rare Entity. I don't think I'd. Yeah, I would probably have played the Kazan Mystic because it doesn't really do him much good to hold it at this point, and you really need to get rid of that weapon, that very last hit on the Despite, because that's one of the important things to shut down versus a potential patron deck.
Yeah.
Looks like Bowser might be opting to do it anyway, just for one armor.
We are having a bit of trouble with part of the portion of our stream. We seem to not be able to see Bowser's or Nosferatu's anymore. It's a little interesting. Gotta love the technical difficulties of your first time doing this.
Bowser had an Acolyte in hand, and he decided not to play it to get the guaranteed single draw after deciding to use his weapon. Not sure that was a good choice there.
Let's see if we can fix this by dropping one of them.
Nosferatu's got quite a few choices, but none of them particularly overpowering at this point. But at the very least, he should probably get that mad scientist down. He opts to play Lothab, which I don't think that was very necessary at this point in time.
Yeah, because there's not really many spells the warrior would use, especially if it was Grim Patron, but as we can see, it's not.
You'd be afraid of, normally when playing against Warrior, you'd be afraid of maybe Shield Slam if it's Control Warrior, and there's always the threat of Executes, but all he had was a 1/3 Armor Smith, so
Yeah.
he lost a lot of value on delaying a potential combo later on in the game.
Throwing down Harrison now while he still can, just to get a better viewpoint.
Very good choice there. Nosferatu looks like he wants that Flame Strike. I don't think that was necessary at all. He might be trying to just maintain board control and burst Bowser down, but without that Flame Waker on the board, there isn't really that much persistent damage coming out to worry Bowser at all.
No, I think we'll stick with watching Bowser's side of the stream. We have another screen set up to watch Nosferatu's.
Who's currently holding 5 cards and deciding what to do about this Dr. Boom. He might have decided to fireball it.
Flame Waker Fireball is a very clears the board. Flame Wakers get rid of bombs. Potentially. Now it's the damage from the bomb's back.
Yeah, he gets a very good trade out of that. It's exactly what he wanted.
Very good time to armor up and use that shield slam.
Just cycle up and fill up your hand with more responses, which all Bowser really needs to do at this point.
I would be tempted to shield slam the Flame Waker, use your weapon, clear Lotheb
Well, he
instead
decides that
of
Lotheb
using
is-
both.
Yeah, he decides that Lotheb is worth the shield slam.
Well played.
Because that shield slam is potentially better later on if you save the fiery war axe.
Yeah, you really want to get rid of that fiery war axe early because later on, you don't want to have to choose between that and a death bite. You just need to get the value out of the war axes early on so that the death bites have even more value later on because it's really hard to make 3 damage counts on turn 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. And with drawing that shield maiden now, it kind of becomes even more obvious that the shield slam later on really could save you.
Could almost kill you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Now he decides to actually use his war axe.
Although now that
Cho may
Walker
actually,
Cho came out,
work in Bowser's favor.
especially now that he did get rid of both shield slams. There's strong irony here in that situation. Now Nosferatu, only card left in the hand is Kazan Mystic.
Game is still a ways from being over, but Bowser definitely has the potential to just... Looks like we got the other mirror entity revealed. Yeah, but Bowser definitely has a lot more ability to respond to all these threats. And presumably he has other ways to still activate the Grommash that's sitting in his hand to end the game. Would you use that turn on Lorewalker at this point? Or would you return the... oh, it looks like he decides he doesn't want to give Bowser anything other than that time rewinder.
Yeah. Gave Bowser 2 of them just to get that Lorewalker out.
I would be worried about giving a warrior fireballs too.
Yeah.
With no other real way to clear that minion.
Nosferatu kind of holding on. But I think Bowser, if he just shields up, controls the board, he's going to control
Yeah.
long before there can be enough damage to take him down.
Bowser essentially at 30 health still. Just maintaining board presence very well, and Nosferatu at this point has got nothing to rely on except top decks to save him from this dilemma.
It's not a bad idea to return the Taskmaster.
It looks like he just wants to finish that off immediately.
It just puts it down again.
It's pretty good value.
I think I would have saved it though. Made more use of that big game hunter against some of the mage legendaries and cards.
Well, at this point, when you're seeing that, you know Nosferatu has that Lorewalker Cho as that only card in hand, and he's only relying on top decking. Like, do you really need 2 big game hunters?
True. I think I would have fire blasted the Shield Maiden. Give you another opportunity to get rid of it next turn instead of the Taskmaster. Like, even if he returns the Taskmaster.
I can take the hit.
Yeah, that time rewinder definitely doing work in Bowser's favor.
Yeah.
He's got 17 armor. It's a shame you used the shield slam so early.
Yeah. That one Lorewalker Cho betrayed him.
Nosferatu draws the Arcane Intellect, which is very timely and draws the Dr. Boom. Like, I would pretty much plop that down immediately.
There's no reason to wait on that Dr. Boom.
Looks like he's trying to make it safe for Dr. Boom. But, okay. He opts to clear one minion.
Sadly, BGH gonna take care of it. That's an interesting tech card to add to a warrior.
The Dragon Warrior has actually been a thing in the Chinese scene. Especially because there are so many good legendary dragons that you do get a lot of value out of the battle cries that require dragons. Because you're generally going to have Sarah in hand guaranteed if you draw it earlier on.
Yeah.
Or Rags no dragon. What other dragons do we have? Alex Raza is sometimes used in Control Warriors.
Ysera, Alexstrasza. That's really about it that I can think for dragons.
Yeah, but that has been one of the significant differences in Warrior across the ocean there. I'm not sure if they've been too keen to pick up on Patron Warrior yet or not. But EU and NA you don't really see too much of putting these dragons in a warrior deck.
Mm-hmm.
What to do? What to do?
All Nosferatu can really do is fire blast away and hope those bombs hit where they need.
He's got 2 damage on the Shield Maiden. That's not terrible. It's better than hitting his face.
Just like you. I am ready.
He's gonna try and see if it finishes it off, and it doesn't.
Even more armor coming out for Bowser.
Bowser's just biding his time for just looking for any persistent damage cards he can find and just saving his Brahmash combo until it'll finish the game in a very tidy manner.
Gonna sack the Shield Maiden. Prevent cheap spells from coming out, but not many spells in hand anyways.
Nosferatu. Once your tempo deck runs out of steam, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah.
Because you're just relying on these low damage, low
draws.
cost minions against things that will easily 2-for-1s or possibly 3-for-1 trade.
So you're gonna wait for them to select their next decks. Conquest format. Bowser using up the warrior. I imagine Nosferatu will pick mage deck again. It's generally found in Conquest that using the
Do
deck
we
you
know
lost
what
with again.
all the other decks are?
I will go find out.
Wouldn't show up on challenge. Good. They're kidding. Just asking. I guess only
Nosferatu has a mage, an enter, and a warrior. Bowser
Versus Rexar.
Let the hunt begin. I will
Looks like we're into the next game. Bowser decides to go with Paladin this time, while Nosferatu switches it up with Hunter.
Now, and
Savannah Jaime, not a good early game draw.
the mad scientist knife juggler, and
Everything else is looking pretty good, though.
yeah,
However, this Paladin looks like it's purely built to race against any potential face hunters that it might encounter.
yeah. Seems pretty good.
He has... Bowser has a very nice hand. He can just spam all the cards he wants and then rely on Divine Favor to just immediately refill everything he just used, practically.
Yeah. Because even a face or mid-range hunter, it's,
Unless the hunter is able to keep up with the amount of minions that Bowser just put down, that Divine Favor is going to be very useful.
yeah. I imagine you'd want to proc the scientist, get an explosive or phrasing on your second gnome, put down the knife juggler, and the next turn,
Freezing Trap used on
for
left
battle.
gnome, so that I would be very happy with that trade. Nosferatu on turn 3 can potentially get the animal companion, and at least 2 out of the 3 possible choices would be able to deal with the knife juggler. But Bowser is sitting on that, can't remember what it's called.
muster for battle.
Yeah. Oh, he gets Hogger and instantly clears that knife juggler though, so no follow-up value out of that muster that he was prepping for. Bowser does play the muster anyway.
Muster's always usually a pretty good card to just kind of use it when you can.
And this early on, the only real response would be Unleash the Hounds, and it feels like kind of a waste to use an Unleash the Hounds to clear that muster for battle.
Imagine you get the Argent Squire down as soon as you can.
Yep. Surprisingly, even though both these decks are geared pretty toward aggro, there's very little face damage that's actually been done, and once Nosferatu gets to turn 6, that Savannah is going to be very hard to deal with based off of Bowser's very weak hand.
Right now, Bowser just needs to bring those cards down, try to get used to the Divine
He
Favor.
hasn't had the chance to really go for face, and once that Savannah comes down, he's going to have to make some hard choices.
Can clear the board for now. Save some of his minions.
Nosferatu's deck is gearing toward the mid-range. That can pretty much shut down a pure aggro deck, which so far we haven't seen too much other than aggro out of this Paladin. He does, however, draw a piloted Shredder, so all is not necessarily lost yet.
Nosferatu drawing Haunted Creeper. So, piloted Shredder Haunted Creeper is not bad. I think I would have still gone with that high main in his hand, though.
He would have had to spend two to three minions just to kill the high main, and then there would still be a couple 2/2s left that the remainder of Bowser's hand would have problem dealing with. I'm not sure if Bowser carries any true silvers or not, but at this point, seeing one would probably be very welcome.
For most fast paladin decks I've seen like this one, they usually don't carry too many weapons because they're always trying to push out the minions.
Savannah high main finally getting played.
Gonna be able to clear the board pretty well.
Yeah. Bowser's Divine Favor is essentially dead in his hand at this point.
Silence really helps though.
The light protects me.
3 mana for the 1 card. It's kind of painful, but
No,
I guess
and
if you
he,
got nothing else.
and he just goes into another one.
Very unfortunate.
Why? Nosferatu still having a shredder and a gnome in
You
hand.
can pretty much start going to face as Hunter. There's no way that Bowser can race him.
Especially now he has no cards in his hand.
Divine Favor, even less value now. 3 mana for 0 cards. Got the
I guess-
Protector, which would have been great earlier on, but
Would you protect and kill the other shredder?
that is a very viable option, especially
Because that's the only
if
thing preventing
you're
lethal.
gambling on Doomsayer coming out, which has time to time known to happen. That would have been a significant boon. But
The victory is yours.
yeah, it looks like Bowser knows that he can't come back from this deficit.
Gonna wait for the next match. We'll bring the stream back up once the next match begins.
Gul'dan versus Garrosh.
Victory or death! Your soul shall be mine!
Job's done. Job's done.
So the next match is ready again. Bowser versus Nosferatu. Now, Bowser seems to be running a handlock. Trying to get a view of Nosferatu's hand.
Looks like spectator mode's bugging out a little bit.
It's freaking out on us.
We've got multiple layered cards on.
That's okay. Trial run. Self-driven casting. We have no idea how to actually do this on a high technical level.
Nosferatu showing that reason why he brought the Dragon Battle Prize earlier with that Ysera in hand. He's got quite a few late game cards at the moment with a Cruel Taskmaster, Sylvanas, a Coin, Shield Maiden, Brawl, Ysera,
A second death card, and the big game hunter. So
once it gets later into the match, Nosferatu's going to have quite a few responses to any sort of aggro that Bowser may try with this Warlock.
Indeed, yeah. Now, Nosferatu's hand. Definitely your basic control warrior. Cruel Taskmaster, Sylvanas, Coin, Shield Maiden, Brawl, Ysera, Death Spite, BGH.
Nosferatu can just keep the board from getting out of control very easily.
And typically against the handlock, that's what you want to do, is control the board as opposed to doing a lot of damage right away. That way you just kind of run the handlock out of cards.
As control warrior, you really care about those later turns. Just being able to make it that far. Looks like BGH might get some use the next turn. And with 3 mana left, actually, he has both the Cruel Taskmaster and an Execute. Would you save the big game hunter for later?
I would, with this early mana count now, like, you want to really save that Execute for when it's a taunt wall giant, not a regular giant. However, now he can use that extra little minions, armor up a bit, develop a strong presence, instead of using the BGH and having no way to protect it. Because there's that slime that the Shield Maiden has to get rid of, and the
Either
Shield
way,
bot
both plays
gets rid of the BGH.
both plays cost 3 mana, and they're both the minions that would be played are easily cleared as they both have 2 health. So, would you value that potential 4 damage later on by? Looks like he does decide to save the big game hunter.
I think that was definitely the correct play to make.
Yeah, and if things get out of control, there's still Brawl. Yeah, definitely going to see some BGH action at this turn.
I think you just go face.
Yeah, can be a little dubious though. I may have opted to at least hit the shield maiden into one of the boom bots before big game huntering, because you have to worry about like not like bursting down a hand lock can often go in their favor if they have ults and giants in hand. If you don't think you can finish the job very next turn, or that turn that you have that burst,
Yeah.
because all they need to do is just play a free 8/8 and then heal up for with the heal bots for 5 mana for 8 health, and just make it like you almost did nothing.
I think Implosion might be the best play.
I'd agree.
Get rid of that hunter. Like, yeah, you lose it to the weapon the next turn, but you're
But you also make him use that weapon.
and you're saving all your other minions. Every other minion in his hand, like this heal bot, dead next turn.
Looks like he doesn't want to risk getting a cheap Molten Giant out next turn. Afraid of too much burst.
Nosferatu, having picked up a slam, still has a War Axe, has a Dr. Boom, Ysera, Brawl.
Both players are in
Sylvanas.
very good positions right now.
Drawing into a shield slam. Could be very useful later in helping clear a giant or two if he can get that armor back up.
Trading and then playing Sylvanas. Good play. Nosferatu didn't like how Bowser gained that 8 health, decides to
Very clear play for Bowser there.
with that empty board. Very easy choice to make to just get rid of that Sylvanas before it has a chance to do anything other than be played.
But Nosferatu, seeing the Siphon Soul, decides it's best to play Ysera now. Get strong value out, because Saw board clear probably doesn't have the second one in hand.
Warlock really doesn't have much hard removal other than the Siphon Souls, and at most they carry 2, and we've only seen 1.
Yeah.
It's like, even though it's a legendary dragon, it can't even be big game hunter because it only has 4 attack. So it's quite a conundrum there.
Do you think you would Defender of Argus here? Could have put a very strong taunt wall.
Choice, because you really want the Imp Gang boss to start pumping out imps.
Yeah.
You just want to,
Like-
want as many things to make the warrior deal with as possible. Because other than Brawl, warrior is severely lax in having board clears.
And that would have definitely put the Imp Gang boss at 5 health, preventing that first attack from Ysera. Would have given the Drake even more advantage.
And of course, the more minions that you have, the more likely that one of yours does survive the Brawl,
Yeah.
instead of that lone Ysera. Nosferatu tries to put more pressure on the board by playing Dr. Boom. He's gonna see what... We're seeing a lot of 0-4s pop out of these shredders today.
Yeah.
Seem very popular.
Dream.
Returns the taunt to the hand.
Aw, didn't want to keep Nat Pagel alive. Not to a handlock. You don't want to give a handlock more cards.
I don't know. Have you ever seen orc fish? Other than probably every day on World of Warcraft. Mining for those fish.
Lothep a good pick, given knowing Nosferatu's hand. Still a lot of options though for Bowser,
I really feel like that.
but nothing that really makes me feel like he can push through the 2 legendaries on the board.
I really feel like Bowser needs to use that implosion soon on something. Or he's never really going to be able to use it. And he's been so scared about getting bursted down that this Molten Giant has been a dead card in his hand as well,
Yeah.
giving Nosferatu ample time to play his huge minions.
Starting to play the Implosion as well as the Drake.
The opposite played on the Sarah, but he already filled the board. Luckily, only two damage popped out, and 2 slots for imps was all he needed. Wow, at this point, you kind of don't want to play the Brawl, but it is pretty good. But there's also the fact that he has multiple shield slams, and Nightmare's not too great in this instance.
He has Nosferatu picking up a second Brawl. I mean,
You don't normally see double brawls in Control Warriors.
you don't. It's usually just the one for dire situation.
Yeah, you only needed that once.
But this is enough to win.
Without even needing those double brawls in hand. Is Sarah definitely doing work that game?
I was definitely not expecting that.
And I'm not entirely sure what the record is. But Nosferatu has this may either be match points, where we need to verify that.
Yeah. So we're back.
Nosferatu is down to his last deck, which will be Mage. And Bowser feels like Handlock is going to give him the most reliable matchup. Even if he does win this, he will eventually have to play that aggro Paladin, but you do want to make sure you stay in the game at this point.
Yeah. Except against this Tempo Mage, that Paladin deck might actually be able to push through if he can win this one as well.
Nosferatu does get one of the very nice dream draws of a Tempo Mage deck and gets Mana Worm plus Mirror Image to just make it untouchable for at least a couple turns.
Now, in Nosferatu's hand, we have the Mirror Image, Archmage, Lotheb, and Ragnaros. Not the best hand to have, given...
Very expensive. If he hadn't drawn that Worm and Mirror Image in his opening hand, he would be in a very sore spot. Draws a Sludge Belcher next as well, while Bowser, as Handlock, all he really needs to do is bide his time.
Yep. Now, if this Mage hand would have been drawn against that Paladin, though...
Curiously, Nosferatu opts not to play Mirror Image and buff the Worm. Looks like he might be trying to save it for an Antonidas turn to keep it safe potentially for a second turn and get fireballs on fireballs out of it.
Which at this point I think might be the wisest play, because he doesn't really have too many other spells in his hand, or even low-cost minions to toss out. Doesn't want to really burst down the Warlock's face yet.
Yeah. When you see such an expensive hand, you have to plan for the late game. Unstable portal coming a turn too late to use on that worm.
Yeah. Nosferatu.
Would you play the Lotheb at this point? Yeah. So that
I think so, yeah.
it at least trades with the gang boss if necessary. Still manages to trade with the gang boss, but unfortunately, the Azure Drip can now deal with that 5 health minion.
Nosferatu drawing a Yeti. Still has that unstable portal. But he's definitely prepping for Flame Strike next turn with that ping. Let's see if Bowser picks that up. If he does...
He's also threatening to just straight out trade next turn. If Bowser doesn't manage to clear the Yeti.
I think I'd play the Lotheb. If I was Bowser and singing that ping, I would play the Lotheb because that would buy me one more turn with all those minions to really get the damage equal.
Yeah, and having seen that Nosferatu hasn't played too many cards and has been having to rely on just his hero power each turn, you know there's a lot of expensive things to play.
Yeah.
And just the Lotheb just locks down board control significantly.
Now, Nosferatu drawing a Kazan Mystic, which doesn't really help.
That card hasn't really done any work at all, and yet we see it so often in his matchups.
I think it's because a lot of people see the popularity of Face Hunter, and they want to predict ahead of time. I myself even have thought about adding a Kazan Mystic or two to like a warrior deck to really face off the Hunter early aggression. And Defender of Argus drawn. Bowser's still having a lot more control.
Nosferatu's hand is extremely expensive, and as long as Bowser just keeps playing huge things and keeping him out of range of Flame Striker and Fireballs even, all he has to do is just sacrifice one minion a turn and let the others just keep smashing into Nosferatu's face, which is exactly what he's doing, just playing as many things as possible and buffing up both the Lotheb and the Imp Gang boss past Flame Strike range.
And really just kind of getting those cards out of his hand, they're really high cost. So he's trying to plan ahead, I imagine. Nosferatu picking up Clockwork Gnome and got a taunt out of his Yeti.
I really don't see any way to come back from this. All Bowser needs is just one minion to get through. At this point, thinking about the Flame Strike.
Thinking about it.
Might just like play the portal, just see what you get, and then just taunt as many things up. But even then, there's too many minions on the board.
Especially with only 4 health left. Buy some time.
Implosion, however.
But Implosion and Bane do.
Work out of even on the lowest roll, Implosion is guaranteed to clear that one taunt without blocking his way. Looks like Nosferatu takes the game.
And Bowser took the game. now it's last game.
Now I'm getting mixed up with this one-person spectator mode. Yeah. Next up, Bowser is going to revert back to that aggro paladin, and Nosferatu is going to stick with that sort of tempo, sort of late game mage there.
Yeah. I think Bowser could really take it with the Paladin deck if that same RNG happens.
Problem is that
Gets that slow pacing for the mage, and the Paladin can rush in. And
yeah, the problem is that this mage doesn't seem to be a freeze mage, which
It's
is
not.
what you generally see happening to guarantee that you live long enough to be able to play all these
Yeah.
late game minions. The Rag, the Antonidas, we keep seeing them and he never gets to use them. And the only secrets that we've seen are only mirror entities.
yeah.
We don't even know if he has an ice block or even an ice barrier to just live long enough to play these things.
Yeah. Seems like trying to find a middle ground. It's like it doesn't want to be freeze. It doesn't want to be Flame Waker completely. It's just like
Unfortunately, this indecisiveness is.
it's what costs you.
Yeah. If you can't commit to a strategy, you have no strategy.
You got to commit to early game or long game. One of the two. Now I think we are taking a quick short break, allowing
Alright.
for restroom breaks and food. So we will be back once the match begins.
Uther versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
I will fight with honor.
And we're back. Going back to Bowser and Nosferatu. We have a kind of low hand for Bowser. Nosferatu, though, having a Mad Scientist, Unstable Portal, Sorcerer, Fireball, Coin, everything he would have needed last time around. Potentially a lot of advantage thrown Nosferatu's way. Getting a lot of free spells out, getting the Unstable Portal out early. Kind of lowers the hand, but definitely allows for a lot of extra draw. And that early taunt really helps too. Bowser having a tricky turn here. Imagine he'd want to put down the defender. After getting rid of the shield, put it down again. Really preserve as many minions as he can. Nosferatu drawing a Flame Waker.
Well, looks like for once Nosferatu has the steady opening that he's been looking for in the past several games.
Yeah. Really has the advantage in kind of being able to control the board, even though Bowser's trying to get card after card to gain it back. I think those true silvers will really be what helps push Bowser to keep the pace, though, and clearing the board, keeping control of it.
We haven't seen too much of Bowser's aggro paladin to see if he has any responses other than that single sludge belcher to things that go a little haywire, like that hunter face-off.
I imagine, though, you would still play the true silver this turn, though, because you have two of
You
them
have
in
two
hand.
in your hand. Yeah, you gotta do something with them.
Move quickly.
I think you'd clear the board. I don't think you would go face with the minion.
Looks like that was the best choice, seeing that Nosferatu just drew a flame cannon and could have just killed it for free.
Really good turn to use Knife Juggler Muster after he uses that true silver once.
It's a very good draw, just in time as well.
Especially if he uses that true silver first to get rid of the gnome, then that's 3 knives going straight into the scientist. Doesn't have to worry about what the trap might be.
And if Bowser has been paying as much attention as we have, as far as we know, all Nosferatu's been carrying is mirror images. Unfortunately, every single juggle just went for the face.
So now he's going to lose that juggler. And knowing Nosferatu's hand, having that Flame Waker and that Flame Cannon can really be punishing right now.
Decides to use the flame cannon, not really sure that was necessary right off. Yeah. He sort of wastes 1 damage after after deciding to trade after the use of a spell.
Yeah. I think I would true silver here.
The secret is, of course, mirror entity. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced there's no secrets other than mirror entity in this deck at this point.
Using the true silver to clear the Flame Waker, prevent any other of his lower health minions to be tossed away so easily.
At this point, Bowser is actually in a pretty good position. Nosferatu does, however, draw Ragnaros.
Yeah, that Ragnaros is really going to help once he gets to 8 mana.
As long as he's able to start pumping out minions, though, Rag might not necessarily do too much.
Another muster for battle, really. He can clear the board now and get rid of the Yeti. Muster,
Yeah, you have
Divine
to do
Favor to get a few more cards in hand.
before it becomes entirely useless again.
As we saw last time, Divine Favor right into another one.
There was a point. Yeah, that second Divine Favor was entirely useless after that because Hunter just had no hand left. Everything was on the board and in Bowser's face. Oh, I do not agree with leaving that Yeti alive.
I don't either. I think that was a misplay.
He wanted to get as much value out of that Divine Favor by not getting the extra spare part that the Yeti would have given him, but honestly, 4 1-1s versus a single 4-5 and whatever Nosferatu decides to do this turn is
But even then, like, with that spare part, he still had 1 mana. Could have used it, and if it was a taunt, not too great. Recall.
Well, no, he wouldn't have had a minion left. He only had the one. That would have had to been traded into the Yeti to finish it off.
No, because he would have had 3 more from the muster. Because he had to play the muster before he played the Divine Favor.
All right.
Which means he still would have that 1 mana to use whatever thing he got, and it would have given him an extra card.
Well, looks like he draws Knife Juggler a little too late to use with the muster.
Now,
This really isn't looking good, though. Deciding not to kill off that Yeti.
bursting is really his only option right now. Trying to get most use out of that
And
extra card in
all
his hand.
Nosferatu needs is that Flame Strike, and Bowser has nothing left.
Like tossing the other 2 minions. I would get rid of the scientist by now. Just trying to get out that extra secret. If there's a second one.
Unfortunately, you know it's going to be Mirror Entity, which I really don't value as much as so many of the other secrets. You got Counterspell, you got Ice Barrier, Ice Block, and
indeed, the second secret is Mirror Entity.
there.
However, for Nosferatu, I think that's the perfect card to draw. Mirror Image really stops any and all presence he has with minions.
Yeah. Nosferatu's trying to bide enough time to maybe make Ragnaros at least kill the dealing blow. Deal the killing blow.
Man.
Yeah. Thanks. Alright, looks like we managed to view both players' hand here.
At least on one of our computers.
Well, just take my word for it.
Reporting for duty.
Bowser does still have a really good chance to win this, though, with that Leroy in his hand. He's just desperately trying to make sure that Nosferatu has to deal with some kind of board to buy enough time to let Leroy deal a finishing blow.
Yeah. Running into...
Nosferatu thinks about playing that Ragnaros, but honestly, I would probably ping Shield Bot and then Frostbolt it and just bide time. Because you don't generally expect Paladin to be able to deal a 10 damage burst, even while leaving 3 tokens on the board. Yeah, he just decides to gamble with the rag hits after all. I really think that he had to do that. Rag hits.
That is sad.
Rag hits the minion that Nosferatu thoughtfully targeted for him with that freeze. Yeah. Bowser looking more and more like he had a chance. If he can keep this Rag busy.
If he can... I think I would save the Leroy.
Yeah, you definitely have to
Token.
save the Leroy.
And then at least taunt one of your minions and just go face. Like,
Yes, exactly.
like you can't clear the
just-
board.
All you need to do is get Nosferatu down to 6 health, which he can do in a couple of turns.
Move quickly.
Or draw one of his Blessings of Might. Like,
Like, almost anything at this point. And Bowser has enough health to withstand a single Rag Blast. Like, I really think it was a bad idea for Nosferatu not to have killed off that divine shielded bot for free. I wasn't actually expecting Nosferatu to have Doomsayers, since this doesn't really seem to have any elements at all of free.
That was from the unstable portal that he drew. Choosing the Frostbolt. Get that
Finally
last
gets-
minion out of the way.
Oh! And Bowser is just taking a deep breath.
And he comes back from the suitcase.
That was a good top deck. That was a good game.
Bowser's Paladin finally does its job. And lets him move on to the next round. Very good game.
And we'll come back right as the next game's ready. Keep watching.
That greedy rag click.
Job's done. Job's done. What now? I must choose. From the void I come.
I can ease your pain.
You win this time.
Where's the mouse?
versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Nature will rise against you.
Okay. So now we have a semi-final match between Harmful and Drew Cork. Seem to have
Both players being one of the few that have actually brought druids to this tournament. And surprisingly, this game is a mirror match.
I find that goblin to be very interesting. Because you don't really see a lot of dragons in a druid deck. Like maybe a Ysera, but that's the only dragon I can think of that.
We have seen a lot of people wanting to make these dragon decks work out, like the dragon control warrior. Right now, I think Drew Cork is already looking like he'll just take this handily. Just in druid matchups, generally, as soon as you have the initiative, it's hard for an opposing druid to counterbalance that. They're almost always on defense for the rest of the game.
Especially if he can get that Druid of the Claw out, taunt it up, and create a strong beginning barrier.
Harmful's hand having neither wild growth nor innervates, and Drew Cork just pumping out that mana. With no response anytime soon from Harmful.
Should probably text Kyle right now.
My work is paramount.
Drew Cork plays the Technician without a dragon to buff it, which I don't disagree with. At this point, you just want to keep board control on your side. Druid is another one of those classes that really lacks a way to clear the entire board.
Yeah. Harmful's high mana cost hands really starting to hurt him in this.
High mana cost with none of the cards that enables druids to play them early enough to matter.
None of the innervates, none of the wild growths.
And right now, Harmful's just staring at this 3-minion board. Finally gets a chance to play something. Sludge Belcher, very useful. Looks like the stream is, the spectate mode is still bugged out.
You think Blizzard would just like streamline this?
Well, I would welcome the chance to look at the code in a hex editor someday. Sludge Belcher, however, should easily be countered by the Keeper of the Grove. Drew Cork looking to just trade though. I don't think that's necessary. It's bugged.
Yeah, it's just gonna be there for
The rest of it.
The audience forever gets to look upon the great cat form card. We'll just
spectate somebody and we
yeah.
can see both cards on this.
Work in progress. Let's see.
For the sake of being able to see what's on the screen, we're probably going to have to sacrifice view of one of the player's cards again. Harmful swipes, manages to clear the board in a very good fashion. draws an Emperor Thorsan, but at this point he's used most of his high-cost cards, and he also has an Enervate in hand.
Give us a moment to try to get the stream back up and going.
It's like Thorsan's getting played after all, just to try and maintain any kind of presence.
And we're back.
Harmful draws Shade next Rammus. Has, at this point, he actually has Mike. Let's see, he's got Sylvanas, Harrison, Force of Nature, and potentially the Savage War combo. I can't tell with this bug spectator mode.
He has combo.
Potentially can stabilize this game, and Drewpork's hand is going to start lacking in quality. He does, however, draw an Ancient of Lore, and looks to just burst Harmful down.
And he's gone.
Did it bug again?
Yeah, it bugged again.
Okay.
I think we'll switch.
And as predicted in the beginning, the first Druid to start pumping out minions wins.
Dun, dun, dun.
Harmful loses with his Druid. He still has Druid, Hunter, and Warlock to choose from. Work down to Mage and Paladin. Looks like the matchup is going to be Harmful on his Hunter and Drewpork on Mage.
You asked for it.
Yeah, there's an option to directly challenge a person, and we have a pre-set-up bracket so that people know who to challenge. And right now we're on semifinals.
So
We've got 4 players left, and
okay.
When you win with the
So spectates finally caught back up to us.
this is semifinal.
We have
Like once, like so, 2 people, 2 groups of 2 people are playing.
Drew Cork and Harmful. Harmful
Each
being
winner.
one of the few people to actually have one of those new custom backgrounds. But in his hand is Haunted Creeper, Eagle Horn Bow, Quick Shot, and Knife Juggler. Drew Cork, Mana Worm, plays that, and passes.
Harmful draws a Houndmaster.
Which at this point is already looking a
Little dubious for Drewpork's fairly expensive hand compared to Harmful's 2 and 3 drops that he still has plenty of.
Still struggling a
Harmful's
bit with the
next
stream.
draw is his Savannah High Main. So he's working out a very nice curve. Drewpork really doesn't have much to do other than play another Sorcerer's Apprentice at this point.
Yeah, not really much to choose from.
I mean, ping and then pass, but
You still
try and bait out that last weapon hit.
Yeah, you gotta put a minion down to help try to establish some type of board control.
Oh, unfortunately, Harmful draws his second Eagle Horn, and we'll have no qualms just clearing this 3-2.
Now, fortunately for Drew Cork, he can start getting out the Twilight Drakes. Getting some more cards into his hand, getting that extra spell damage.
Able to cycle with a very efficient costing card. Would you Houndmaster the spiders at this point, or just a weapon?
I don't think I would Houndmaster. I would save the Houndmaster for after my high main play. He has no real threats coming his way. So turn 6, lay down the high main, it's going to stay there, it's going to stick, or at least it's going to get the other minions out, and then Houndmaster. Compared to the spiders, one of the Drakes would easily handle the spiders.
Well, Drew Cork potentially has a lot of burst to finish off the game if he can manage to get Harmful down low enough. With double Fireball threat immediately looming, and we're already getting into the later turns in the game where that's entirely viable to just nuke Harmful off the map. Savannah High Main isn't going to live the next turn with the Flame Strike in Drew's hand. All he has to do is clear that remaining spider.
Now, would you ping, or would you fireball?
I would not waste the fireballs, because you can target the hunter's face with the fireballs, and the flame cannon and your hero power are just really not as good.
I didn't count on the extra spell damage from the Drake. But just like I predicted, now he has that taunt from the Houndmaster to kind of keep any damage from coming his way.
Freezing Trap goes goes down. Drew Cork starting to run out of steam, but he does have a lot of card draw potential. Deciding whether to Arcane Intellect or Unstable Portal at this point, I think. And then go from there. I would Arcane Intellect at this point. You have enough mana that you can probably follow up with something useful. And if nothing else, you have the mirror images. What you really want is to manage to get that Hunter down in fireball range, but it looks like he's getting too scared with having only 13 health left.
Yeah.
Someone's out on me.
But I feel like there was a more efficient way to do this.
Yeah, this is getting rid of a lot of the burst that could be useful. The troll will help.
I really think he needs
Mirror
to play
images
that
will
mirror
also
image
help.
this
Yeah.
turn. Harmful draws Explosive Trap with still a Knife Juggler in hand. He is at this point losing steam, but unfortunately, Hunter Hero Power can bypass all these taunts.
That Hunter Hero Power is really going to help whittle it down until he can get back into his burst, or at least get back board control.
I mean, at this point, all Harmful has to do is just stall out long enough for his hero power to even get him in range of the explosive trap, dealing the finishing blow.
Mirror Entity helps. I would clear the board if I was Drew Cork. Just, you're low on health, you really need to make a push for something.
There's not enough burst at this point.
Yeah.
Drew Cork draws the Ragnaros, but can't play it this turn.
Because if you clear the board, you still have a Kazan Mystic to draw on any traps.
Harmful just drawing all his traps, draws the second freezing trap.
Yeah.
plays Stampeding Kodo to give Drew Cork his own Kodo. And for once, we might actually get to see some work done by the Kazan Mystics we've been seeing so often. Which trap would you prefer that got if you had the choice?
I would rather give my opponent Explosive Trap than Freezing Trap. I think it is a misplay not to have played that Explosive Trap. I think I would Flame Waker Fireball. Like, yeah, you're getting rid of your next Fireball, but you at least have board control.
I think Drew Cork is scared of the amount of bursts that hunters can do with Kill Command. He's trying to decide, like, just if he should even bother clearing at this point, or just like try and race Harmful down now that he has more board control.
This is also a good play too. Not as efficient, but
Swing
still
with
good.
the Kodo, yeah. The Flame Waker manages to do quite a bit of work. And next turn, Drew Cork probably has this in the bag, as long as he can make sure Rag only hits the face.
Yeah. Now here's a question. If you play both traps and you play a Kazan Mystic, does it steal the first trap?
It steals the first trap,
The
yes.
first trap that was set? Okay. So it's going to steal the Explosive Trap.
Yes.
Oh, but he didn't put down the
Oh.
freezing.
There, we got a counter spell. I would probably play that Mystic. It's just like, there's almost no reason not to at this point.
Yeah.
Light does not discriminate.
And if you clear the board with what you have,
You don't even necessarily have to clear the board. He's got 10 damage. Like, he has the explosive trap. This is potentially, like, lethal next turn. Harmful knows he can't attack because it's got the trap, and potentially Flamewalker might even finish it this turn. Oh, Harmful has 1 health left. And even if Harmful had the kill commands, that counterspell just foils it.
yeah.
Decides to
Harmful
just suicide, seeing
drew into Houndmaster.
Drew takes the game with Mage. And is currently up 2-0. I'm glad we finally got to see that Kazan Mystic too.
Yeah.
And got the finishing blow off that explosive trap. Very satisfying after seeing it dead so often. Just this 4 mana for a 4/3.
Which could be, like, in that case, it
It's all
sways
right.
the game.
It's alright,
But
it dies to 2 drops. And doesn't steal the secret that it was meant to steal. It's just been very sad games. But yeah. Glad to see that somebody finally got some satisfaction out of it. Harmful brings the Warlock with Drew Cork's Paladin. That he has 3 chances to win, to just take this series. It's gonna be a very uphill climb for Harmful.
Indeed. Harmful playing Warlock. Looks like a Zoo lock. He has an Abusive Commander. Wolf.
The common Zoo demon lock that's more popular on the ladder these days.
Yeah.
Harmful draws Mal'Ganis. Unfortunately, that doesn't do too much this early on, but he did mulligan a Void Color earlier that he's probably regretting now.
Harmful also drew into a Doom Guard. 2 strong cards that doesn't really have anything to do.
This This almost feels like a pure Demon Lock if it weren't for the Direwolf Alpha and the Abusive Sergeant in his hand.
Yeah.
Actually, it's just the Direwolf that makes it not Demon Lock at this point.
I wonder if that's thrown in as like an early minion tech card to kind of throw people off. There might just be one.
Potentially, because a lot of Demon Locks early. Okay, as I was saying, a lot of Demon Locks early drops usually only have 1 damage, but they do have higher health. So being able to buff those minions to deal 2 damage and just trade up is very beneficial. Aldor Peacekeeper comes out to try and keep Ward under control. Interestingly, Harmful just drew a Sea Giant. Is he looking to combo that with an Implosion, maybe? Otherwise, that feels really expensive to hold in your hand.
Yeah. Very interesting additions to the Warlock deck. So far, still working out.
Harmful, unfortunately, has 2 Doom Guards in his hand, which is never what you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because almost assuredly one of those Doom Guards isn't getting played, and even worse, it might discard something that you might value more, like the Mal'Ganis.
Yeah, definitely.
Very high chance of things not going well if he doesn't draw a Void color soon. Harmful plays a second Wolf, and we see yet another 0-4. Matt Pagel comes out to do some fishing on this very arid map. Harmful draws a Bane of Doom. Jukork's plays are...
He actually gets a catch.
He's considering using the Consecrate, but... Okay. I don't know if I would have used that yet. I might have valued the Muster for Battle more, but I do think Consecration was a decent play.
Consecration was a decent play. I mean, if you put down any other minion, it would have been, you know, sacrificed right away. Now that's a good draw from Bane of Doom.
Yeah. You do not want the chance to give that Floating Watcher the chance to start stacking up. Although, it's very risky to stack it up past 1 turn. Because Jukork can easily clear that, although...
With the BGH, but at the same time...
If Drew is expecting this to be a fairly standard Demon Lock, then he probably would just save that BGH for the Mal'Ganis that I would definitely expect to come out.
The Mal'Ganis play, for sure, is definitely what I would save it for, even if that did get higher, it'd be tempting.
Just deciding to silence the Watcher can potentially get 2-for-1 trade out of this, but decides that it's worth holding on to the rest of these Musters and Zombie Chows. Zombie Chow is kind of starting to be a dead card at this, having been drawn this late in the game.
Same with those Musters.
Yeah,
They're not really helping him.
It's just like they really needed the chance to be played earlier.
I think you play both Musters, like, just get it out now.
Would you see what comes out of the Shredder first?
Possibly.
decides to use his second consecration. And right now, he just wants to burst Harmful down and hope he doesn't carry any healing or Jiraxis. Although Jiraxis, even though it brings you back up to 15 health, most of the time, if you have to play that as a desperation play, you're already way too far behind that. You're still going to die the next turn, or within 2 turns at the latest.
And this is a really good setup for Mal'Ganis next turn.
Yeah, the Doom Guard's in his hand. He doesn't even want to play.
Yeah.
He's. I probably would have just gambled on the Mal'Ganis being discarded or not earlier in the game.
And now he's drawn into his equality, but he's already used his consecrate.
He doesn't need it right now though, but
Yeah.
um,
But I mean, for the Mal'Ganis turn that's about to come up, like that's why you save it.
there is potentially the Pyromancer play. We don't know if Drew Cork carries any of those as a secondary quality activation.
Reporting for duty.
I
would just go face this.
I would get rid of the. I personally would suspect a Mal'Ganis play, and I would want to limit the damage as much as possible. Like, yeah, it'd be nice to go straight to face, but I don't know if I would.
Honestly, I don't feel like Void Terror is really a good card in most of these decks that try to make use of it, because you sacrifice 1 or 2 minions for it, and that can losing that much board control can often swing the game in your opponent's favor.
Yeah. I think this
And
one's
if,
pretty
and if you make it
straightforward.
too big, then there's just like the instant VGH play.
That equality
So
has
you
to
just
come
give,
down.
you can potentially just give your opponent like 3 minions for free. Yeah, Drew Cork making some very good decisions and just slowly whittling Harmful down.
Going for a true silver play instead of muster. I would have liked to have seen that second muster come down.
It's not really necessary at this point when you already have the 4 minions that are hard to clear on the board. Unless Harmful has Hellfire, he can just keep pumping these minions out each turn.
Yeah.
And what he wants to do is just burst Harmful down while he has so much more HP than him.
Good RNG getting both
Yeah,
the Doom Guards down.
But luckily, gets rewarded for his patience, gets the Mal'Ganis out, and both
Chooses not to go face. I wonder if that's because if he was fearing for what's that card? The one that buffs the tokens.
It just went out of my mind. It's the Quartermaster.
Oh yeah, Quartermaster.
2/5 Quartermaster gives your the tokens that are summoned by your Paladin +2/+2.
Reporting for duty.
I think that Sludge Belcher gives Drew Cork just enough to fight back.
Yeah, the Sludge Belcher was a very good draw, and Drew Cork has the second True Silver, so he's also getting rewarded for his decisions and deciding how to drain Harmful of all his HP with a little bit of help from Harmful.
I think this is also showing how Nat Pagel really has helped him in the long run.
Yeah,
Because that has kept Drew Cork's card draw enough to really put up this defense.
the early decisions to have used those consecrates meant that Harmful had no real way of clearing the Nat Pagel.
And now he has a Void Caller to kind of stall enough. Because either way, he's going to have to use either the weapon to get through or something, and it's not going to be enough to kill him right away.
Potentially harmful could draw into a Jiraxis though, and that puts him on very good footing to get back in this game with 2 Doom Guards on hand.
A Jiraxis, a heal of any kind, that's what Harmful really needs to stay in the game.
Unfortunately, if that next turn doesn't provide any kind of relief, Drew Cork has got that burst down just from the True Silver in his hand alone.
Yeah.
Drew Cork could be nice and just drop the Zombie Chow and heal.
Here you go.
Like, come on. I'll delay this. Oh, power over.
Well, would have been great in other circumstances, but Harm's just too far behind.
I don't like that tap. I don't like it at all.
We know it really wouldn't have mattered though, but Harmful sacrificed a lot of damage to the face because he was afraid of the Quartermasters. Oh, and Drew Cork just
And again, that
Tyrion.
Nap
Harmful has
Peggle.
absolutely no chance.
That
Cork
Nap
just
Peggle, man.
deciding how many ways to which way to kill Harmful. He's got so many options.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Cork takes
Semi-final.
clean sweep of 3-0. It's a very solid play.
Yep.
We'll take a short break and get ready for the next match.
And we're back. We got connected into the other semifinal. Now, Bowser is 2-0 so far. Chuck Huss is down, and he needs to fight his way up 3 if he wants to continue.
Handlock, a very strong deck, and given 3 chances to close out the series, it's very likely that Bowser will be going to the finals.
Yeah. And I remember the last time we had the final came to me and Bowser. It was quite the match.
Has he brought the same decks, or has he
He's brought
tried
some
to mix it
different
up a little?
decks. The Warrior deck's pretty much the same, with a little additions here and there. Warlock is new though. Warlock. At least I remember.
Like he didn't have the ability to close out the series last time. Warlock,
Maybe.
Handlock specifically is just very strong. Although very double-edged deck to use.
Yeah. I always much prefer
It
Demon
requires-
Lock over Handlock.
It requires nerves of steel to be able to go down to like 8 health and be like, whatever. I win.
Like, meh. Yeah.
Like, I'm only at 8 health.
He can't kill me yet.
Yet.
Yet. Right now, Bowser's just kind of putting up the taunt wall, because he knows that freezing trap is there. So he's just like, you know, I'm just gonna wait. Which I feel like is half of what you have to do to play a Handlock. It's just kind of like
it's a very patient game.
normally I consider myself a very patient person, but I much prefer
Your nerves can't handle
the Demon Lock action.
The amount of stress of watching your life go down before it jumps back up to 24.
Now we have 2 traps. Which if we can...
a lot of situational cards in Bowser's hand that he's gonna have to get rid of very soon before he runs out of slots. 4 more cards in his hand and starts overdrawing. The Harrison probably wants to save, but the BGH doesn't generally have much to target in versus Hunter decks.
Oh, you can. I want to see what those secrets are, but I also don't want to...
Bug the game.
Don't
They're
wanna...
probably both, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's most likely to be the most 2 common traps, and they are both explosive and freezing.
Yeah. Sometimes...
Has all the bases covered.
Sometimes a couple decks, though, like to substitute
The
one
snake
explosive for a snake or a misdirect.
Yeah, just for the sake of variety, to help throw a little more decision making into your opponent, into the ring to make your opponent have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's like seeing 2 traps. It's just like, oh no, how do I handle?
What could it be?
It's just extremely frustrating when you see a maid with 5 traps or something. It's just like all the secrets. I don't even know how to respond to this.
You don't know which one's gonna proc first.
Everything I do is just going to end poorly. Bowser really needs to get those Molten Giants out of his hand so that he can Jiraxis, though.
Yeah.
Although Jiraxis does set your health to 15, it sets your maximum health to 15. And unfortunately, the base cost of a Molten Giant is 12 mana minus your health. Or,
No, it's 20.
20 minus your health, and if you throw out Jiraxis,
your
that
maximum
late,
health then becomes 15,
Yeah.
and you can no longer really play the Molten Giants for free for any cost, really. Ooh. Looks like Big Game Hunter did have an actual target. I would coin out that Molten Giant.
I would too. It gives a very strong anti-bomb attack. As
Bowser
well
has a
as-
very strong board right now.
There's no reason to heal right now because you still have enough health that you can get out those giants.
The low sub is also a viable play. He's just trying to delay Chuck House from bursting him down while maintaining the board. But I really feel like it would have been better to just put this huge threat of a Molten Giant out there. And even next turn, he could have played the second Molten Giant and then taunted those.
Yeah. Still, Bowser's in a situation where you can't really do too much to go wrong. Because Chuck Huss is just
Almost
missing
everything
out.
is playable.
That Corehound and that crab. Not doing the best work for him right now. Like, gotta play the crab, no reason not to.
No Murlocs to kill, though. Decides to use Kill Command on the face. Oh, that's going to be very unfortunate next turn. Once Chuck House ends turn and sees what's about to happen.
Yep. Yep.
And potentially he can get a double heal off that antique healbot as well by just...
Well, and I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, he's at 30 health. Yeah, he's going to try to push, but now it's just going to heal up enough.
Draw a
After
card,
dropping
in
those
the,
multis.
draw a card in the mix there. Or just coin out the Imp Gang Boss even. And you don't even really have to worry about overfilling the board for Unleash the Hounds at this point. Chuck House is down to one card and is essentially top decking.
Yeah.
And that one card is a Core Hound, which is really not good. It's very easily killed.
No real reason not to play the Core Hound, though. Got to get something out and hope that Bowser will bite into it.
Next up, oh, he decides to attack with the shield.
Now, there still is a way for this to get turned around, particularly if it's something to get that Core Hound either taunted or a charge.
Low sub guarantees that there's not going to be any ridiculous burst next turn.
And I think that seals it. I do believe that's it, with Bowser sealing a quick 3-0.
So semifinals both go 3-0, and it'll be very interesting to see how they stack up in the finals.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we're going to get that final cast ready for you.
Ragnaros versus Nefarian!
I am the master here. I will have my revenge, dragon!
I'll get right on it.
I wield the power, Black. I wonder.
Job's done.
So we are almost ready to stream our final match. We're going to temporarily stop the stream so that our final match is recorded as a separate video as per request by Blizzard. So hold on soon.